Hi everyone, it's Charlie with Great Legal Marketing, and I want to answer a question that we get a lot at Great Legal Marketing and in relation to the law practices we serve both as our members and our followers. And that is, how can I hire the right people? This is one of the most important questions that is ever asked because, frankly, without the right team surrounding you, it can be very difficult to achieve success. I'll go ahead and give you a bonus hint right here at the beginning of the video, and that is, if you don't have the right people surrounding you, you are going to have to get rid of some of those people. Culling the herd is an important process in improving your team. You always want to be achieving with A-level players, and as your firm grows and gets better, those A-level players may start representing B and C-level employees eventually. So hiring and constantly having A-level people in your practice is very important. Now this means potentially hiring more often than you have in the past, but don't worry. I'm going to share with you some tips that makes hiring a not so scary process. And actually, for me, it's a very exciting process. I see it now as an opportunity to find the best person for the job, to find that next step in the growth of our practice in both of our businesses. So I really love hiring. I love meeting people with new skills, new talents that represent new opportunities. These people, they are the vitality, they are the lifeblood of our organizations. So I believe in the hiring process as a whole, and I'm going to share with you all of my little insider tips for it. So first off, let's start with a big mindset idea here in hiring, and that is, hiring is not hiring. Hiring is marketing. Hiring is not just adding a person to your team. Hiring is attracting the right people, marketing for the right prospects, your ideal employee, attracting those people, and finding how to get them on board at a value that is good for you and for them. So let's get rid of just the hiring is hiring. It's just the, okay, I need a paralegal, so I'm going to find myself a single paralegal with these 6 qualifications. No. I am going to market to find my ideal paralegal who not only has these 6 qualifications, but fits my team culture as well and seems to have a growth mentality and is excited at the prospect of the firm growing and gaining more responsibilities or becoming an important part of a larger team. See, I've already transformed the way that hiring exists in your practice. It's not a 1-to-1 ratio, it's a 1-to-many ratio. It affects many areas of your practice, not just those 6 skills that you need. So let's start with the attract prospects area. So what a lot of people really want to know is, where do we attract prospects from, especially on the marketing side, but we've actually hired our attorneys, our paralegals, and intake specialists through the exact same methods. And we actually hire people mostly from Craigslist ads and Indeed.com. Let me go ahead and write that up for you, INDEED.com. Many of you are probably familiar with Craigslist, but didn't know about this nifty little resource. We've been using it now for about a year to hire new employees, and actually about half of our hires have come off of Indeed.com and the other half from Craigslist or personal referrals. So now that we've identified the where you're going to go to attract prospects, let's talk a little bit about the attraction of them. So here's the biggest mistake that you can make. It's going back to the just listing the 6 qualifications area. See, when you just list those 6 qualifications, you're only going to get people who say, okay, I checked those simple boxes. A lot of those people, all that they want to do is come in, check those 6 boxes, and check out at 5 o'clock on the dot. They're packing up their stuff at 4:55 and ready to race out the door to go home. You want people who are more than that to you. You want people who, yes, have those 6 qualifications, but maybe you can sacrifice 1 or 2 of those qualifications because they have an incredible mindset about learning. And you know that they can learn not only those 2 qualifications, but they can learn an extra one on top of it. See, when you have people who only just want to check those 6 boxes, they're never going to want a 7th or an 8th or a 9th. But when you have someone who has 4 of the 6, but has the mindset to learn more, now you've got an employee that scales up with your practice. So how do we attract this person who scales up? Well, we do it differently. We tell them what we're looking for in an employee, and we tell them about why it is beneficial for them to move to your practice from wherever they're at. We often have employee attracting ads that are the equivalent of 1,000 words or more. These are not insignificant little ads. We put a great amount of thought into the process. We know that we've done it right when we get an email back from someone on Craigslist or Indeed that says, "You'll never attract anyone with this kind of ad. You sound crazy." That's perfect for us. That means that we are weeding out the people who, frankly, are losers. And we don't want them applying for the job because we don't even want them coming near our office. We only want the dedicated winners to apply in our practice. So we tell them a bit about us and why it's an interesting place to work. We list the type of person we want to work with, such as someone who still reads books, who maybe still gets the newspaper every day, who is well educated, who doesn't care for drama, who settles conflicts in an open and honest forum. We use our Ben Glass Law core values as our guiding light in this. And then, this is really important, we tell them who we don't want. We don't want people who are going to check Facebook all day long. We don't want people who haven't read a book in the last 5 years. We don't want people who are incapable of writing complete sentences because they type like everything belongs on Twitter. We want winners, and we're going to tell the losers we don't want them. And we're going to tell them why. So we have our list of what we want and what we don't want. And then we talk a little bit more about what goes into the job itself, and we want to create some differentiators why our practice is better to work in than another practice, because a lot of times some of these smaller firms like ours may not pay the same amount as, say, the big firm in a metro region, and we're competing with firms in DC that may pay as much as double what we will pay to a new employee. But we attract the best talent because we bring the people who have the right success skills into our practice, who are interested in being part of a smaller team. And we emphasize that in our employee ads. So we attract our prospects. Now we need to qualify our prospects. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm looking through the resumes, and I do all the hiring now for Ben Glass Law and Great Legal Marketing. I'm looking through the resumes and I'm getting a sense of who these people are. Someone who doesn't put a great deal of effort into their resume, or it seems to just really be a form letter more or less, I'm weeding them out of the process. I'm looking for people who have both experience in the legal field, but potentially some non-legal experience, where they bring a different set of experiences into the job with them. For example, we recently hired a receptionist who used to work at an eyewear company and was on the floor as an assistant manager selling eyewear to people. She now answers the phones and does a phenomenal job of answering them and doing intake with potential clients because she uses this skill set, this selling mindset with the clients she talks with on the phone, and it makes a big difference. But if I never look for that skill set and I say, oh, I'm going to eliminate her because she doesn't have 9 years worth of paralegal experience, we never have that employee who has been so beneficial to our firm. Now, once I've decided on my pool that I want to chat with, I get on the phone for a 5 to 10 minute conversation where basically I'm getting a sense of, do I like this person? Is this someone who seems enthusiastic about getting a job with us? Or is this someone who doesn't seem to care, maybe has a bad phone voice and doesn't show enthusiasm? If there's nothing there, I stop the process. That person gets weeded out. But from that point, I am scheduling interviews for interviewing potential hires. Now, our interview process requires at minimum 2 interviews. One of them is just with me, and one of them is with the team members they will work with on a day-to-day basis. It starts with me, then it moves to the team. Because I don't want to waste the team's time if I personally don't think there's potential there. So after they've gone through those 2 interviews with us, we run them through realtalenthiring.com with the personality or the values profile through Jay Henderson. And we work with Jay to make sure that we're hiring the right people. Jay has caught quite a few employees that had some major red flags that we couldn't identify in the interview process and prevented us from making a bad and very costly mishire. So this 2-part interview process allows us to get to know the potential employee much, much better. And it allows us to get in person with them and to ask them some challenging questions. For example, I will put our set of core values, our 9 core values at Ben Glass Law, or Great Legal Marketing, down in front of them. And these are core values that we believe in. These are important to us. And ask them, which one of these do you disagree with the most? This forces them to make an analytical decision and to reveal part of their personality based on our 9 core values. And And I don't let them slide off easy on this. I don't accept little sort of waffling answers that say, well, I don't really like this one, but let me spin it into something positive. No, I want to hear them argue critically and analytically on behalf of their choice. That's important for us because they will have to make smart, analytical, and critical decisions in their day-to-day job with Benglass law. And if they're not willing to do that right now in the interview process, we'll never be able to get them to do that on the job. So we put them through some of these challenging questions and of course some more polite questions. What are some of your strengths? Who are you within a team environment? Are you a leader? Are you the head of a committee? Are you working for the committee chair? Or are you one of the people who just sits on the committee? These little kind of different versions of common questions force people to come out of their comfort zone and their canned answers. That's one thing I really hate. I hate canned answers. Canned answers to me reek of someone who is always just trying to find the next job and will bounce from our place soon enough. So I avoid the canned answer, folks, and try and break them down if I think maybe there's something there. So challenge potential hires in the interview process. Now I know that this is a lot of information, but if you take everything and start using it today, I promise you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it will transform the type of people you have in your practice. This could be one of the most valuable things you will ever do to change the value of your team members, is changing your hiring process. All right, if the hiring process and improving it is something that really interests you and you want to learn more about it, check out the URL below to test drive membership with Great Legal Marketing for free for 2 full months. And you'll get a new member kit that includes all kinds of marketing and management information. And you'll find in our newsletter, we regularly talk about the hiring process and what we're doing to make sure we get the best candidates in the door and hired at our practice without having to spend enormous amounts of money or have strange employee perks like a ball pit in the office. So again, check out the URL below. 2 free months of membership with Great Legal Marketing, and we'll ship you a really cool new member kit.